All right, well, here's another week of faith, hope, and love at home, and we are super excited to bring into our journey together as we've seen faith, hope, and love kind of spread in homes through this series, and encouragement to our church and to other friends. Our great friends, Drew and Brittany Brees. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Great to be with you.
So excited.
We're a little jealous. We wish we could enjoy some sunny California weather. It snowed yesterday in Pittsburgh. So just pray for us when you're enjoying that time in the sun. But we miss you guys. I know we're all kind of going through this season for the first time, but we're super excited to introduce you to our network of friends and to just have a conversation that we hope will encourage a lot of people who are kind of navigating in this season like everybody else. We truly believe, when you abide in Jesus, three things abide: faith, hope, and love. And so we want to talk real talk. We don't have to get super deep here. We want to talk real talk. So let's kick it off. I know Annabeth wants to find the real story of our first question here. So
yeah, Brittany, you tell us in your own words how you guys met.
Yeah, I don't want to hear Drew. I want to hear you.
Rick, you just told me I couldn't swear on camera. I'd be super appropriate. I got all these warnings, and then you asked me that kind of question. I've been put on notice. It's actually an awesome story. We met in college. I'm going to give the Cliff's Notes. But we met in college at Purdue, and we actually met, and the day, we can't decide whether it was the day of Drew's 19th birthday or the day after. Either way, it was one of those snowy, freezing, cold days at Purdue, and we had gone to this party. My friend and I, my roommate and I, had gone to this party, and it was where some of the football players lived, and lo and behold, the football players were wrestling and fighting and rolling around in the snow like little puppy dogs.
It was in an apartment complex, and there was, I'm telling you, like 10 feet of snow, like pushed to the side, and we were all just acting like idiots.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing Brittany walk across the parking lot, and I literally said to my two best friends, "I'm going to marry that girl."
Love it.
Awesome.
Before I'd ever met her.
He was frozen from the neck down at the time. But
and you were older than him, right? So you were ahead of him. He was.
Yes, I was 21. I just turned 21, and he had just turned 19. Okay. So I think he just needed a sober driver, honestly, for a while. I'm not sure if it was love at first sight. It was before Uber was around, so. Yeah.
All I know, I looked at my best friends. I told them I was going to marry this girl, and I kind of nudged them. I was like, "Hey, watch this," And so I went over to try to talk to her, and I just remember I made the biggest fool of myself to her, to the point where I was like, "I have no shot with her. She will never want to talk to me again." And it was funny because I had never seen her before until that moment.
That's true.
And for the whole second semester, I saw her like everywhere I went. Like walking to class and there she is, or going to lunch, there she is. And I was so embarrassed because I wanted to go and talk to her and try to redeem myself and let her know that I was at least a decent guy, and to kind of forget about that first impression. But it took me 6 months to work up the courage to do that, and then finally I kind of worked up the nerve to go talk to her again, and she gave me a chance.
The rest is history, huh?
The rest is history.
Yeah. So, three boys, one girl later. That's one of the things that we get to share with you guys. We're kind of in the same world of as my dad calls them, 3 pet gorillas and then a princess, right? And so, man, we're kind of in this season. I've got to share a story. I don't know if I've told you this, Brittany, but that kind of inaugural first play FNA season, Play Football in America. It's kind of kicked off all over. We had the privilege of Drew let me be an assistant coach. It was a great honor. I didn't offer much to the team, but I was an assistant coach on our boys team. So our middle kind of kids, super competitive. My twin boys, they're in it. My oldest son, Bolt, it was so awesome to see Drew inspire him and help him fall in love with football. The very end of the season, if you'll remember, both teams went to the championship. Both teams went to the championship. The twins and Bowen, Callan, they won their game, championship.
Mm-hmm.
Balin and Bolt, they lose their championship. All the kids are crying. I mean, all of them are crying, including Bolt. And I'll never forget, Drew gets down on his knee, and he gives Bolt the kind of pep talk that I'm telling you, I'm sitting here saying, Bolt's probably going to be the next president of the United States. This is this powerful of a pep talk. Bolt's crying, and I know Bolt. I know, Drew, you were like, man, Bolt cares about football. This is awesome, so I'm going to step in this moment.
Totally.
I leave. Annabeth comes over, and she goes, you know why Bolt's crying, don't you? And I said, why? She said, because they ran out of goodie bags. He never got a goodie bag.
Everybody else got a goodie bag.
He didn't get his Capri Sun and Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah.
He got no Rice Krispie treats. Drew thought he was crying because he lost the championship. Hey, so we love our families. We've had some fun trick-or-treating together and stuff. Man, what have been some fun? I know me and my boys have camped out. Like, what have just been some fun ways, some creative ways, and even some cool things like I've seen the last couple of days with Balin wanting to get active, to raise money and do creative things. Like, just what are some of your favorite highlights of this season right now?
Well, as you know, Drew can literally not sit still. It is just not something that he is capable of doing. So I can't tell if it's the kids wanting to do things or if it's Drew wanting to do things. I mean, he's done like scavenger hunts, and then we drag the trampoline under the basketball hoop, and then we're doing trick shots, and then we're having like paddle boarding in like the pool, which the paddleboard barely fits in the pool, so it's always something. Like, it's literally nonstop. Every morning he's like, okay, what are we doing today? What are we doing? What's going on? So I mean, he's like a camp all to himself. I mean, it's amazing.
The homeschooling thing's way too slow paced for me right now.
He can't be involved in the homeschooling thing.
Yeah.
He's like, when's recess?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I'll take them. Yeah.
Britt got a shirt that says homeschool mom on it, and I got a shirt that says PE teacher.
I'm Dad.
Exactly. We've had fun. We've had some dunk competitions, so when the boys get some free time, I think we've watched literally, you'll appreciate this, Rob, with the basketball background. We've watched every NBA slam dunk competition, I think, in history.
That's awesome.
In history. We've gone year by year through YouTube. Yeah. And the boys, you know this because you got some athletic boys, but man, like when they see something that they're into, you can just see the wheels start to turn. Yeah. And then they'll go out and visualize it and practice it and fail and get frustrated and throw the ball into the, on the wall and get upset. And then all of a sudden, like, it clicks and they hit it. And it's just like, it's a great joy for a parent to see them fail. And then all of a sudden have that success. And so then, of course, they're like, Dad, videotape this, slow motion this. And, we're in this day and age with social media where it's kind of fun because you can share all that stuff and people get a kick out of it. So they've gotten into that. We've been really proud of Balin with, painting shoes. I've kind of mentioned that even more so this week because we were laying in bed with Balin one night and Balin just talking about, you're trying to explain to your kids at this age, what's happening, in the world, right? And why things are the way they are right now with COVID-19 and why we have to stay home. And, as you're having those conversations, Balin being the oldest said, hey, I wish there was a way I could help, but I just don't know what I can do. And so then we got to talking about, this talent that he has with art and with painting shoes. And he said, well, what if I paint shoes and you think people would want to buy them? And it's like, well, let's give it a shot, So we posted that on social media and actually had a couple of people reach out to us about wanting to buy shoes with obviously the proceeds going to COVID-19 relief. So that got Brittany and I both really excited because, anytime, your child especially can take something that they're passionate about and they're developing a talent or a desire to do, and then turn that into helping people, that makes you feel really good.
I love it.
Well, one of the things that we've been praying for through these interviews is just to encourage other people who are also stuck at home, and to give people hope. And just what are some of the things that people are sharing with you, or that you have shared with others to stay hopeful in this time?
Gosh, I mean, that's such a great question. I mean, it really is, I think, bringing out the best in people, and when you go back and you look at trying times throughout history, you look at all the trying times through the Bible. I've tried to reference, all of those through my children without scaring them. You're trying to give them hope because you have all these examples of how it's come out. And sometimes we just don't know, right? And that's what ultimately faith is. And that's what ultimately our faith in God and Jesus is not knowing why something is happening and not knowing what is going to come of it, but ultimately know that it's in God's hands and we are in his hands and protected. And I think just connecting with people who are Christians, who have ups and downs just like you do. We've been able to obviously talk with you guys a bunch, just kind of relating with the kids, but then also, other family members, other people in the community, because we're really all in this together. We really just need to help each other at this time. And if anything, I think it's just bringing people closer together if you let yourself look at it that way, right? There are so many blessings that are coming out of this situation. Having all this time with your kids that we never had before. I mean, a week before this all hit, Drew and I were drawing out a calendar and it was completely full. There wasn't probably an hour left in the day or on the weekend, and then all of a sudden we have all this time with our children that, they're growing up fast. Who knows how much time we're going to have and how much time they're going to want to be with us. Yeah. So you have all these opportunities, and now Balin learning to serve others, and to really help with charity. So we're kind of just finding our way through this as much as we can.
Yeah. Hope, I kind of define this. It's an expectation of the promises of God's faithfulness, right? And that's what you're speaking to. You can always have hope in faith because God is faithful. We're not faithful. Yeah. God is faithful. And that's why we can always stay hopeful. And our hope has always been to, be able to share with as many other people, especially those who right now don't have that faith in Jesus, that he's there for them, that he loves them, and that he can provide the same security in this life and into the next. And I know you guys, God has just used you in so many different ways. Personally, we want to say thank you for your friendship and encouragement in our lives over the years. But God's used you on and off the field to give hope to so many people. Talk a little bit, because I know this is a calling of your life. And we kind of united together in post-Katrina New Orleans with a calling. We really felt a calling together to the city of New Orleans and that together. But there's also been a calling in your life to form the Brees Dream Foundation, and for that to be something that your whole family owns together to honestly give people hope, right? To meet needs and change lives. Share with us maybe some of the favorite things that you've been a part of and just how that got up and going.
Wow. Well, we formally established the foundation in 2003 when I was playing for the San Diego Chargers at the time. But really, it was something that Brittany and I had talked about really ever since that we met. And certainly when we got married, we actually officially formed it on our honeymoon. Like, this is exactly, what we want our mission statement to be, our focus to be. And in the beginning, it was about improving the quality of life for patients with cancer.
Well, and just to interject, you'll appreciate this about, not understanding God's work. I got massive food poisoning on our honeymoon. And so we were literally in the room for probably 5 days straight where we couldn't leave. And so we just sat and talked and talked and talked. And that's how we came up with our foundation.
Yeah.
Did Drew use a whiteboard?
No, he couldn't. He didn't have any utensils. I wouldn't let him leave the room. It was horrible. I was like, we're married. You can't leave me.
No.
Yeah. But from there, we're looking at 17 years now. We've had the foundation in existence, and we expanded the mission once we signed with the Saints in 2006. This was 6 months post Katrina, and obviously there was so much need in New Orleans at the time with the rebuilding efforts. So we really tried to throw ourselves into that, and so we broadened the scope of the foundation to include rebuilding, schools, parks, playgrounds, athletic fields, childcare programs, and really just still focusing very much on children and families, though. And we've had some, obviously, to watch New Orleans grow the way that it has and come back the way that it has over the last 17 years, or I guess 14 years now, has just been, it's been a tremendous journey, but truly a calling. We've talked about this many times, Rob and Annabeth. Coming to New Orleans was really very little about football, and it was everything about where we felt like God was leading us for so many other reasons.
Yeah.
Well, guys, look, I know kids be crazy and all over the place, and it just means the world that you would take some time with us to encourage us today. I can't wait to maybe give you a little taste of Pittsburgh soon, maybe have you guys here and introduce you to some of our family here. Obviously, our family in New Orleans loves you and appreciates you. But thanks so much for encouraging us. Thank you for the recognition. One of the things that people ask me all the time with this blessing that I've had to serve as a chaplain in the NFL, like, what's it like? And the biggest thing I always share is it's amazing to me how many people in the NFL, these stories aren't shared enough. A lot of your teammates and coaches and the organizations really consider the platform that God's blessed them with as a responsibility to serve a lot of people. And you guys recognize that. You epitomize servanthood and encouragement. And I know from the Wilton family to the Brees family, we got nothing but love for you. And we're just so thankful for you.
Oh, we love you guys too. We can't wait to see you.
For sure. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Bye.
Enjoy that snow.
Oh, right.